This girl is no longer pure. She was raised in the house of Allah, yet today she has become a source of shame for us. She has no husband, yet she is with child. Shall we accept such a sin?" Maryam remained silent. She knew that the truth was not for the people to judge today. The truth rested in the hands of Allah. "By the command of Allah, you shall not see the light today. I can see. My eyes have been healed. If this man is not stopped, our power will cease to exist. He must be removed." They thought that by killing a prophet, the truth would be extinguished. A prophet whose departure brought down the greatest punishment upon the Jews. A prophet whom Allah the Almighty has referred to as his Ruh, Spirit, in the Holy Quran, in whose name the world's largest religion was established. He was granted miraculous powers or miracles unlike any other prophet. He was raised alive to the heavens and will return to this earth at a specific time before the day of judgment. He is Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, Jesus. But how was a man who came to teach people monotheism, Tawheed, turned into God himself? And how were the Holy Injil or the Bible altered? Let us explore this in detail. When the condition of the children of Israel, Bani Israel, became extremely dire, their scholars and pundits had become completely corrupt. They altered the words of the scripture and sold their deen or religion for petty worldly gains. They had changed the entire religion to suit their whims. Furthermore, Palestine was under the rule of the Roman Empire at that time, who inflicted inhumane torture upon the Jews and collected heavy taxes from them. In this crisis, it was written in their scripture that a Messiah would come to liberate them from this oppression. At that time, the Jews waited anxiously for that Messiah. They assumed their Messiah would arrive in the guise of a powerful king or a mighty warrior, but in reality, the opposite happened. One day, Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam, Gabriel, appeared in the form of a very handsome man at the home of a pious and righteous woman. This woman was Sayyida Maryam alayhi salam, who had been raised under the guardianship of Hazrat Zakaria alayhi salam. Hazrat Jibreel told her that Allah would gift her a noble son without any marriage. Sayyida Maryam was astonished, and afterwards she withdrew from people to a secluded place. When she felt the labor pains, she took shelter under a date palm tree and, overwhelmed by pain, cried out, "Oh, would that I had died before this!" But then a voice called out from the unseen, "Do not grieve." Immediately a spring of water flowed from beneath her feet, and when she shook the tree, fresh dates began to fall, which restored her strength. After these events, Hazrat Isa alayhi salam was born. Sayyida Maryam returned to her people in the settlement with the child, but as soon as people saw her with the child, they began to cast heinous slanders upon her, and everyone started shouting at her. "This girl is no longer pure. She was in Allah's house, yet today she is a shame for us. No husband, yet she is pregnant. Will we accept such a sin?" Sayyida Maryam became extremely distressed and worried. But just then, a miracle from Allah occurred, and the infant in her lap spoke up. Hearing this, everyone present was stunned. Their faces showed shock and confusion, and thus the purity of Sayyida Maryam was proven. After this, she raised Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. From childhood, he was a very righteous and simple-hearted person. He ate very little, wore plain clothes, and spent most of his time in worship. He would make birds out of clay and bring them to life with Allah's help. He possessed so much knowledge that at just 12 years old, he would debate with the great teachers of the time in such a way that their intellects were baffled. Allah granted him many miracles. When Hazrat Isa alayhi salam grew up, he began to convey Allah's message to the people. He started teaching monotheism and the true laws of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, which the priests of that time had changed. He taught people to be kind to one another. When people doubted his prophethood, he showed miracles. With Allah's help, he cured the born blind and lepers completely and raised the dead by Allah's command. He would make clay birds, blow into them, and they would fly by the will of Allah. He could even tell people what they had eaten and what they had stored in their homes. Once some people said to him, "If you are a true prophet, bring us a table spread of food from the sky." Then Allah sent down a magnificent feast for them from the sky, but warned, "If you turn away from the truth after this, you will be punished with a painful torment." But when the priests of that time saw this, they realized that their true faces would be exposed to the people. The wealth they had hoarded by fooling people was now under threat. Hazrat Isa alayhi salam began to expose their corruption and hypocrisy to the public. Additionally, the people of that time were immersed in various sins and worldly greed, and Hazrat Isa alayhi salam told them to abandon these things. But they chose the world over the truth and disobeyed him. Even after seeing so many miracles, they kept demanding new ones. Hazrat Isa alayhi salam became extremely displeased with them because, despite seeing so much, their hearts did not accept the truth. The Jews thought their Messiah would be a great, powerful king who would come with a vast army to save them. Yet Hazrat Isa alayhi salam was a very ordinary man like them. In fact, he lived an even simpler life than they did. At that time, Palestine was under the Roman Empire. When the Roman emperor saw that a man was having such an influence on the common people and everyone was following him, he viewed it as a major threat to his rule. Taking advantage of this opportunity, many Jewish priests went to the Roman emperor and incited him against Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. They said, "This man wants to be king, and that is why he is doing all this." Then those priests, together with the Roman king, plotted to kill Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. At this time, Hazrat Isa alayhi salam was eating with his companions. He told them, "One among you will betray me." And exactly that happened. One man from among them brought soldiers to his garden in exchange for some money. At that very moment, Allah the Almighty raised Hazrat Isa alayhi salam to the heavens and placed his likeness upon another man in front of them. According to many scholars, it was the same man who had betrayed Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. Others say it was a loyal companion of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, whom Allah promised paradise in exchange for this sacrifice. Regardless, the Jews tortured that man strictly. He was paraded through the market in a bloody state, insulted, and forced to carry a wooden cross. Then nails were driven into his hands and feet on that cross, and the man was killed. Immediately after, the sky turned black and a terrifying earthquake occurred. This was a signal of the coming punishment. But Hazrat Isa alayhi salam has been raised to the heavens for a specific time. He will return again to confront the Dajjal. Evolution of Christianity and the role of Paul. After this event, discussions began among his companions. Some Sahaba, companions, believed that Allah had raised Hazrat Isa alayhi salam to the heavens. Others said he had died, while some thought he would return. Thus, various stories about Hazrat Isa alayhi salam began to spread. One group accepted him as a prophet of Allah, a second group considered him a martyr, and a third group made him the Son of God. Until that time, the Bible was not in book form. The teachings of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam were memorized by the people. Just as the Quran was revealed and compiled into a book years after the demise of Prophet Muhammad, PBUH. However, the difference between the Quran and the Bible is that Allah took the responsibility of protecting the Quran himself, which was not the case for the Bible. That is why people altered the Bible. Around 70 AD, a man named Saul of Tarsus, who used to hate the followers of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam and tortured and imprisoned them, appeared. He had oppressed the followers of Isa for a long time, because they worshipped one Allah and did not worship the false gods of the Romans. But one day he claimed that he had seen Hazrat Isa alayhi salam in a dream. Yet he had never seen Hazrat Isa alayhi salam in his life. He then changed his name to Paul the Apostle. He began telling people that Jesus was not a prophet but the Son of God. He took this concept from the Greeks and Romans, whose many false gods had sons, like Hercules. He created a distinct Christianity from these ideas, which the people of that time began to accept because they were already accustomed to such concepts. Thus, this new form of Christianity seemed familiar to them. Paul told people, Jesus sacrificed his life to forgive the sins of mankind, so believing in his sacrifice is sufficient rather than following his laws. In other words, this man changed the entire Christian religion. He sent letters to various churches and added his own ideas to the Bible, which later became part of the New Testament. However, some original followers of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam in Jerusalem rejected Paul's ideas and believed in him only as a prophet of Allah. Among them was the brother of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. To clarify, brother here refers to his close follower and companion in faith. Just as we call each other religious brother today, but people did not listen to them, and Paul's new Christianity became popular. At this time, the Bible was given the form of a book, written about 40 to 80 years after the departure of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. It had 4 Gospels: Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. In all 4, different things were written about Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, contradicting each other and containing many things he never said. The miracles of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, like raising the dead or giving life to clay birds, began to be used as proof of him being the Son of God, whereas these were special powers granted by Allah. At that time, books like the Gospel of Thomas or Gospel of Barnabas existed, where he was written of as a prophet. But church leaders rejected them as incorrect. In the 4th century, Constantine the Great became the emperor of the Roman Empire. At that time, his empire was divided by politics and religion. To unite the empire, he gave people the freedom to practice religion. This was the first time Christianity was given the status of an official religion. Before this, Christians were heavily persecuted. At that time, there were 2 groups of Christians. One group considered him a prophet, the other considered him the Son of God. At this time, a man named Arius stood up in protest and said, Hazrat Isa alayhi salam was a prophet of Allah, not a son. Many supported him, but the church leaders opposed him fiercely. Chaos started across the empire over this. Constantine then called a great council, where more than 300 priests attended. In this meeting, Arius's claim was rejected and Hazrat Isa alayhi salam was declared the Son of God. From then on, anyone who opposed this belief had their Bibles burned and was killed. In this way, a uniform version of Christianity was established throughout the empire. The Church Council then selected versions from 27 different editions, where he was called the Son of God, and burned the rest. This is why very few versions of the original Bible, where he is called a prophet, are found today. Later, when the Bible was translated into Latin, the Roman Catholic Church declared it official, and it spread across the world. Later, when Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, declared prophethood and news of a prophet's arrival in Mecca spread, some Christian priests from Najran came to the prophet. They started debating with the prophet because the prophet accepted Hazrat Isa alayhi salam as a prophet of Allah, not a son. The prophet presented verses of the Quran to them, but they refused to accept them. Then Allah told the prophet to call them for mubahala, meaning coming out in the open field with families and praying to Allah that his curse falls upon the liars. The Prophet brought Imam Ali, Sayyida Fatima, Imam Hassan, and Imam Hussein with him. But when the Christian priests saw them coming from a distance, their chief priest said, By God, I see such radiant faces that if they pray to Allah to move mountains, Allah will move the mountains. Do not debate with them, or we will be destroyed." Then, terrified, they signed a treaty with the Prophet and returned. Punishment of the Jews. The conspiracy to kill Hazrat Isa alayhi salam was the Jews' biggest mistake, because he was their last chance. Allah sent him with many miracles so they would accept the truth, but they did not. After that, Allah's punishment began to fall upon them one after another. Shortly after Hazrat Isa alayhi salam was raised to the sky, the Jews rebelled against the Romans because they wanted to gain power themselves. They defeated the Romans in Jerusalem and seized independence. When the Roman Emperor Nero received this news, he sent his son Titus with a huge army to Jerusalem. Titus besieged Jerusalem and conquered the city. Then the Romans destroyed the Jewish place of worship or temple, which Hazrat Isa alayhi salam had predicted, and which is still written in the Bible. After destroying that temple, only one wall remained, which still exists today, and Jews go there to pray. This is the Western Wall. Not only was the temple destroyed, but the Romans killed over 1 million Jews and enslaved thousands. Finally, they were expelled from Jerusalem and scattered across the earth. Many years later, when Roman Emperor Constantine accepted Christianity and it became the state religion, Romans began killing Jews because they believed that the Jews were the killers of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. Thus, Jews and Christians became enemies of each other, and this enmity continued for centuries. Oppression of the Jews continued. In the 1500s, the Catholic Church spread across Europe. Jews were expelled from countries like Spain, England, France, and Germany. They were forced to convert to Christianity, and those who refused were killed. This oppression lasted for about 1,000 years. Then, in World War II, the Nazis killed millions of Jews. Seeing this, Christians later felt sympathy for the Jews and began speaking in their favor in churches. They convinced people that for the second coming of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, it is essential for the Jews to build their third temple, the third temple in Jerusalem. Because their books say that he will come to the world only after the third temple is built. From here, the distance between Jews and Christians began to decrease, and Christians supported the creation of a separate country, Israel, for the Jews. Today, Christians have a big hand in all the conspiracies of the Jews. On the Day of Judgment, Allah the Almighty will ask Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, "Did you tell people that you and your mother are ilah or deities?" Then Hazrat Isa alayhi salam will submit, "O Allah, I never said such a thing. If I had said it, you would surely have known. As long as I was among them, I was a witness. Now you are the witness over them. The decision is yours. If you wish, forgive them or punish them.